The cell that still has a prisoner. In Alcatraz Island, one of the most famous prisons in American history, there is a part of the building that tourists rarely talk about. Cell Block D. It's colder than the rest of the prison. Quieter. Heavier. Guards who used to work there reported hearing strange sounds at night. Footsteps. Whispers. And sometimes screaming. But there's one cell in particular that no one likes to stand near. Cell 14D. Marcus Reed didn't believe in ghost stories. He was a travel content creator who specialized in exploring haunted places and proving they were just myths. When he got the chance to film inside Alcatraz at night, he didn't hesitate. "This is perfect," Marcus said as he adjusted his camera while standing on the empty ferry dock. Behind him, the island sat in thick fog. Dark. Silent. Waiting. A park ranger escorted Marcus through the prison. "Most of this place is safe," the ranger said. "But stay out of cell block D." Marcus smirked. "Why?" The ranger didn't smile back. "Because that's where the stories come from." Marcus turned his camera toward himself. "You heard it, guys. That's exactly where we're going." Hours later, Marcus stood alone inside the prison. The tour had ended. The lights were dim, and the entire building felt different. The silence wasn't normal. It felt like something was listening. Marcus walked slowly down a long corridor. Cells lined both sides. Rusty bars. Peeling walls. Cold air brushing against his skin. He checked the sign above the entrance. Cell Block D. Marcus smiled nervously. "All right, let's see what's so scary about this place." The deeper he walked, the colder it became. His breath became visible. The flashlight beam shook slightly in his hand. Then he heard it. A faint metallic sound. Clink, like someone tapping on iron bars. Marcus stopped. "Hello?" No answer. Then it came again. Clink, clink, this time closer. Marcus slowly turned toward the cells. The sound was coming from the far end of the block. From a single door. Half open. He walked toward it. Each step echoing loudly. The number on the door came into view. 14D. Marcus pushed the door open slowly. The inside of the cell was darker than everything else. Almost completely black. His flashlight flickered. Then stabilized. The cell was empty. Small. Cold. Nothing unusual. Marcus let out a breath. "Okay, nothing here." Then, from directly behind him, a voice whispered, "You locked me in here." Marcus spun around. No one was there. The hallway was empty. But the door behind him had closed. On its own. Marcus rushed to the door and grabbed the handle. It wouldn't move. Locked. "Hey, this isn't funny." His voice echoed through the block. But no one answered. Then the temperature dropped suddenly. His breath turned thick in the air. And from the corner of the cell, a shadow began to form. Not cast by light, but growing. Rising from the darkness itself. Marcus stepped back slowly. "What is that?" The shadow stretched along the wall. Taking shape. Tall. Human. But wrong. Its head tilted unnaturally. Its arms too long. And then it moved. Not toward the door. Not toward the wall. But toward Marcus. And as it stepped into the faint light, he saw something that made his entire body freeze. The shadow had a face. And it was smiling. The prisoner in the dark. Marcus pressed himself against the cold wall of cell 14D, his breath coming fast and shallow. The shadow moved closer. Slow. Deliberate. Not like something drifting in darkness, but like something walking. Its shape stretched unnaturally across the walls, bending where it shouldn't, twisting like it didn't follow the same rules as everything else in the room. Marcus raised his flashlight and pointed it directly at it. The beam passed through the shadow, but it didn't disappear. Instead, it thickened, like the light was feeding it. "What are you?" Marcus whispered. The shadow stopped. For a moment, everything went completely still. Then it spoke. "You came back." Marcus's heart skipped. "I've never been here before." The shadow tilted its head slowly. Its smile widened. "You all say that." A deep metallic clang echoed through the cell block outside. Clang. Like a heavy door slamming shut somewhere in the distance. Marcus turned toward the cell door again and pulled harder. Still locked. "Let me out," he shouted. No answer. When he turned back, the shadow was closer. Too close. Now standing just a few feet away from him. Its face was clearer, but still not fully visible, like something trying to form but not quite human. "You shouldn't have opened the door," it whispered. Marcus swallowed hard. "Neither should you," he said, trying to sound braver than he felt. The shadow's smile faded. For the first time, its expression changed. Not anger, not fear, something else. Recognition. "You don't remember," it said quietly. Marcus frowned. "Remember what?" The shadow slowly lifted one long arm and pointed toward the wall behind Marcus. "Look." Marcus hesitated, then slowly turned. His flashlight beams swept across the stone wall of the cell. At first he saw nothing, just old concrete, scratches, marks from years of prisoners. Then he noticed something carved into the wall. Words. Deep, rough, like someone had scratched them in with their fingernails. Marcus stepped closer. His breath caught. The words read, "IT watches from the dark." Below it, more writing. "Messier. More desperate. IT learns your shape." Marcus felt a cold chill crawl up his spine. He slowly turned back toward the shadow. "What does that mean?" The shadow didn't answer immediately. Instead, it took another step forward, now only inches away from him. "You're starting to understand," it said softly. Marcus backed away quickly until his back hit the bars of the cell. "There was a prisoner here," the shadow continued. "A long time ago." Marcus forced himself to speak. "Who?" The shadow's voice dropped lower. "Me." Marcus froze. "That's not possible." The shadow's smile returned. "Not anymore." The temperature in the room dropped even further. Marcus's hands began shaking. "You're not human." The shadow leaned closer. "I was." Marcus stared at it. "What happened to you?" The shadow slowly raised its head, as if remembering something painful. "They put me in here," it said. "Solitary confinement." Marcus glanced around the small, suffocating cell. "No light," the shadow continued. "No sound. No time." Its voice grew quieter. Days became weeks, weeks became something else. Marcus felt the air grow heavier with every word. "I started hearing things," the shadow said. "Scratching in the walls. Whispers in the dark." Marcus whispered, "Like what I heard." The shadow nodded slowly. "At first, I thought I was losing my mind." It paused. Then its voice changed. They weren't voices. Marcus's chest tightened. "What were they?" The shadow leaned even closer. "Something was in here with me." The lights above flickered violently. The entire cell block echoed with a low rumble. Marcus looked around nervously. "You mean another prisoner?" The shadow shook its head. "No." Its voice dropped into something deeper. "Something that doesn't belong to this place." Marcus felt a wave of fear hit him. "What did it do?" The shadow's smile returned again. "It watched me." Marcus swallowed. "And then, it started copying me." Marcus's mind flashed back to the writing on the wall. "It learns your shape. It learned how I moved," the shadow continued. "How I spoke. How I thought." Marcus shook his head. "That's impossible." The shadow suddenly slammed its hand against the wall. The entire cell shook. "IT is not impossible," it roared. The sound echoed violently through the prison. Then it went quiet again. The shadow lowered its voice. "One night, it stepped out of the dark." Marcus felt his heart pounding again. "And you?" The shadow tilted its head slowly. "I never left." Marcus's eyes widened. "You mean?" The shadow nodded. "That thing took my place." Marcus's breathing became uneven. "So, what are you?" The shadow stepped back slightly. "I'm what's left." Silence filled the cell. Marcus looked at the door again. "Then let me out." The shadow didn't move. "You can't leave." Marcus turned back to it. "Why not?" The shadow pointed toward the wall again. "Because it's already seen you." Marcus felt the fear return instantly. "What does that mean?" The shadow's voice became almost a whisper. "It's learning you right now." Marcus slowly turned. On the wall behind him, A new set of scratches had appeared.
Fresh. Deep.
Forming words. Stay still. Marcus stumbled back. That wasn't there before. The shadow nodded. It's watching you. The lights suddenly went out. Complete darkness swallowed the cell. Marcus's breathing became loud in the silence. Then he heard it. Not from the walls. Not from the shadow. But from somewhere much closer. Right behind him. A voice. His own voice. Marcus. He froze. Slowly he turned around. The flashlight flickered back on. And standing in the corner of the cell was someone who looked exactly like him. Same face. Same clothes. Same camera hanging from his neck. The double smiled slowly. And said, "You open the door so I can leave." The one who walks out. Marcus couldn't move. The figure in front of him, his double, stood perfectly still in the corner of cell 14D, staring at him with that same slow, unnatural smile. Same face. Same eyes. Same everything. But something was wrong. The way it stood, too still. The way it breathed, not at all. And the way it looked at him, like it had been waiting for this moment. "You open the door so I can leave." The words echoed in Marcus's head. His grip tightened around the flashlight. "No," Marcus said, his voice shaking. "You're not real." The double tilted its head. "Then why are you afraid?" Marcus didn't answer. Because he didn't have one. Behind him, the shadow, the former prisoner, whispered urgently, "Don't let it get close." Marcus took a step back. "What happens if it does?" The shadow's voice dropped. "It finishes learning you." Marcus's heart pounded. And then, the shadow didn't hesitate. "It replaces you." The double took a step forward. Its movements were slow, almost careful, like it was testing the ground, learning how to move in a real body. Marcus stepped back again. "Stay away from me." The double smiled wider. "You're the one who came here." Another step forward. The temperature in the room dropped even more. Marcus could see his breath clearly now. "You wanted proof," the double continued. "Something real for your video." It raised its hand slowly, mirroring Marcus perfectly. "Now you have it." Marcus suddenly turned and slammed his shoulder into the cell door.
Bang.
It didn't budge. He tried again.
Bang.
Still locked. "Help," he shouted. His voice echoed down the empty cell block. No answer. No footsteps. No guards. Nothing. When he turned back, the double was closer. Too close. Only a few feet away now. Marcus raised the flashlight like a weapon. "Don't come any closer." The double stopped. Its smile faded slightly. Then, for the first time, it spoke in a different voice. Not Marcus's. Something deeper. Layered. Like multiple voices speaking at once. "You already let me in." Marcus felt his chest tighten. "What are you?" The creature's eyes darkened. "I am what the dark leaves behind." The lights flickered violently again. The walls of the cell seemed to shift. For a split second, Marcus saw something else. Not a prison, but something deeper. An endless black space stretching behind the walls. Then the lights stabilized. The cell returned, but the feeling didn't. The shadow behind Marcus spoke again. "There's only one way out." Marcus didn't take his eyes off the creature. "What is it?" "You have to trap it." Marcus shook his head. "How?" The shadow pointed toward the door. "The cell." Marcus frowned. "What about it?" The shadow's voice became urgent. "This cell isn't just a room." Marcus glanced around. "It's a cage." The realization hit him instantly. "For it." The shadow nodded. "For anything that comes from the dark." The creature suddenly laughed. A low, distorted sound. "You think you can trap me?" It took another step forward. "I've already learned enough." Marcus's pulse raced. The creature raised its hand again, and this time, Marcus's own body moved. His arm lifted without his control, his fingers tightening around the flashlight. What are you doing?" Marcus shouted. The creature smiled. "Learning." Marcus struggled to move his arm back, but it wouldn't respond. It was like something else was controlling him. "You don't need to fight," the creature whispered. "You just need to stay still." Marcus suddenly dropped the flashlight. The light hit the floor and rolled, casting wild shadows across the cell. The creature's form stretched across the walls again, growing larger, darker. Marcus forced himself to move. Step by step, he backed toward the cell door. If this place is a cage, he muttered, then it has to lock from the outside. The shadow immediately understood. Yes, but someone has to stay inside, Marcus said. Silence. The shadow didn't answer. The creature moved again, faster this time, closing the distance. You're running out of time, it said softly. Marcus reached the door. He grabbed the bars, then looked back at the shadow. You've been trapped here long enough. The shadow stared at him. You don't understand. Marcus shook his head. No, you don't. The creature was almost on him now. You said it replaced you. The shadow nodded slowly. Yes. Marcus took a breath. Then it's your turn to leave. Before the shadow could react, Marcus lunged forward and grabbed it. For a split second, his hands passed through darkness. Then, they connected. The shadow became solid. Human.
Real.
Marcus shoved him toward the cell door. Go! The shadow stumbled out into the hallway. The moment he crossed the threshold, the entire cell shook violently. The door began slamming shut. The creature screamed, a sound so loud and unnatural it echoed through the entire prison. No! It lunged at Marcus, its form shifting violently between shadow and human. Marcus turned at the last second and forced himself out of the cell, just as the door slammed shut.
Clang.
The sound echoed like a gunshot. The lock clicked. Silence followed. Marcus and the freed prisoner stood in the hallway, breathing heavily. Inside the cell, the creature slammed itself against the bars. Its face twisted into something no longer human. Its eyes burned with rage. You can't keep me here, it roared. Marcus stepped back slowly. Yes, I can. The lights in cell block destabilized. The temperature slowly returned to normal. The whispers faded. Everything became quiet. Too quiet. The former prisoner looked at Marcus. You saved me. Marcus nodded.
Yeah.
But something didn't feel right. Not yet. From inside the cell, the creature stopped moving, stopped screaming, stopped everything. It stood completely still. Then slowly, it smiled again. Marcus felt a chill run down his spine. Why is it smiling? The prisoner's face turned pale. Because he looked down at his own hands, then back at Marcus. It doesn't need to leave anymore. Marcus's heart dropped. What do you mean? The prisoner's reflection appeared faintly in the metal bars of the cell. But something was wrong. The reflection didn't match him. It moved slightly differently, smiling just like the creature. Marcus stepped back slowly. No. The prisoner looked at him with fear. It didn't replace me. He swallowed. It copied me. From inside the cell, the creature whispered one final sentence.
Soft. Calm.
Terrifying. Now there are two of us. The shadows that multiply. The silence in cell block D felt heavier than before. Marcus stood frozen, staring at the man he had just saved. Or, at least, the man he thought he had saved. The former prisoner, once just a shadow trapped in darkness, was now standing in the hallway, breathing.
Alive.
But something wasn't right. Marcus took a slow step back. What do you mean there are two of you? The man didn't answer immediately. Instead, he looked down at his hands again, flexing his fingers, watching them carefully, like he was testing something, learning. Marcus's stomach tightened. Hey, answer me. The man slowly lifted his head. His expression looked confused, afraid. I don't know, he said quietly, but I can feel it. Marcus frowned. Feel what? The man hesitated. Something inside me. Behind them, inside cell 14D, the creature stood completely still, no longer slamming against the bars, no longer screaming, just watching, smiling, waiting. Marcus grabbed his camera from the floor. Okay, we need to get out of here. Now. The man nodded quickly.
Yes.
Yes, we have to leave. But as they turned to walk down the corridor, the lights flickered again, and for a split second, Marcus saw something in the reflection of the metal bars lining the hallway.
Not one figure beside him, but two.
Standing where the man was. Overlapping. Moving slightly out of sync. Marcus stopped. Did you see that? The man looked confused. See what? Marcus didn't answer. Instead, he grabbed the man's arm and pulled him toward the exit. Come on. They moved quickly through the prison corridors. Past rows of empty cells. Past rusted doors and silent hallways. But something followed them. Not footsteps.
Not a sound.
Just a feeling. Like something was walking beside them, just out of sight. As they reached the main cell block, Marcus finally saw the exit doors ahead. Relief hit him instantly. We're almost out. But just as they stepped into the open area, the lights shut off completely. Darkness swallowed everything. Marcus froze. Stay close, he whispered. The man's voice came from beside him. I'm here. But something about his voice had changed. Slightly deeper. Slightly slower. Then the lights flickered back on. And Marcus's heart nearly stopped. The man was standing a few feet away from him. Not beside him. Farther than he should have been. How did you? Marcus stopped mid-sentence. Because there were now two of him. Two identical men. Same face. Same clothes. Both staring at Marcus. Marcus's mind went blank. No, no, no. One of them stepped forward. You need to stay calm. The other stepped forward too. We can explain. Marcus backed away slowly. Which one of you is real? They both answered at the same time. I am. Marcus's breathing became uneven. This isn't happening. One of them smiled slightly. The same unnatural smile Marcus had seen inside the cell. The other looked terrified. Marcus, listen to me, the frightened one said. That thing copied me inside the cell. The smiling one shook his head.
No.
He's lying. Marcus looked between them. They sounded identical. Moved the same. Even their fear looked real. How do I know which one is you? Marcus asked. The frightened one stepped closer. You saved me. You pulled me out of the cell. The smiling one nodded.
Yes.
And now I'm free because of you. Marcus's chest tightened. That wasn't right. Before he could react, the smiling one lunged forward. Too fast. Its arms stretched unnaturally as it grabbed Marcus by the jacket. Marcus stumbled backward and fell hard against the floor. The creature's face twisted into something inhuman. You should have stayed in the cell, it hissed. The other man rushed forward and pulled the creature away. Run, he shouted. Marcus didn't hesitate. He scrambled to his feet and sprinted toward the exit. Behind him, the sounds of struggle echoed through the prison. Heavy impacts, metal clanging, and something else. A sound like something splitting apart. Marcus burst through the exit door and stumbled outside into the cold night air of Alcatraz Island. The fog rolled across the ground. The distant lights of San Francisco flickered in the distance. He turned back toward the prison, waiting, hoping. After a few seconds, one of them came out, walking slowly through the doorway. Alone. Marcus's heart pounded. Which one are you? The figure stopped a few feet away, breathing heavily, looking exhausted. It's me, he said. Marcus didn't move. Prove it. The man looked at him. You said, then it's your turn to leave. Before you push me out of the cell. Marcus's eyes widened. That was true. He stepped closer slowly. Okay, but then, something felt wrong again. The man's shadow stretched behind him on the ground, longer than it should have been, moving slightly even though he was standing still.